Hello makers, welcome to part number 5 of our Scissor Arm tutorial. In this one we're going to be adapting the files that we've created on Onshape and on Tinkercad in order to be laser cut. So here we have the handle that we did on Onshape from the tutorial number 3 I think, and then the T-Rex gripper from the tutorial number 4. So in order to adapt this one to be laser cut, first we're gonna go into part number 1. Here in the parts menu, right click it and select create drawing of part number 1. Hit OK on the next window. And then click here so we can get a view of the shape, the handle that we just made. It will try to give you another drawings of the profile of it, but you just select or hit escape on your keyboard in order to stop making images. And so now this piece right now, it's a scale 1 to 5 of the original. So for it to be easier for us to change the measurement to this, just gonna right click here somewhere, select sheet properties, and on the scale select 1 to 2. Why not go 1 to 1? Because I think the piece is gonna be larger than the size of this sheet. So for now that's fine. So scale 1 to 2. And that's it. On part 1 drawing 1 here on the bottom, right click it and select export. And the format is gonna be SVG. This file will be easy to open on Adobe Illustrator, which is the software that handles vectors and drawings. Okay, so that will be on the downloads folder. As for Tinkercad, Tinkercad has also the capability of exporting things as SVGs in order to be laser cut. The only requirement it needs is that any piece that you want to export for laser cutting has to be at a distance of 0 from the work plane. So in here, check all your pieces, select this arrow for the pieces you want to laser cut, move it upwards, let's say, and just make sure that this number is 0, whether if you click on it or you slowly bring it down. Remember, we're not modifying its height, we're modifying its placement in the Z-axis. So this one, just gonna bring it back to 0. And since we're not using this one, we can either move it up or just ignore it. So in this case, I'm gonna select these two pieces, gotta do a left click, gonna drag that left click in order to choose these two, select export, and so it's including only these two shapes, and we're gonna export it as an SVG file as well. Right now I'm using one of the computers next to the laser cutters. So if you're using your own computer or one of the laptops that we have in the makerspace, you can still do this next part, but not the one that uses the UCP, the controller of the laser cutter. That software is only installed on the computers of the that are next to the laser cutters. So anyway, you can see here that I've been kind of trying to or testing these instructions here, but we're gonna start from 0. First, you want to go to the home page of Adobe Illustrator. This is a very powerful tool. It has plenty of tools inside of it, so it's kind of easy to get lost, but I'm gonna try to do it as simple as possible and explaining every step, so it's easy for you to follow me on this. So once you are in here, you're gonna go here to the top left corner and select open, and we're gonna select first the drawing coming from Onshape. So we have this part one, drawing one open. I'm just closing some of the other tabs that I had open in here. But this is our file, right? So this part one, drawing one, we just need to make sure that it's on. That's not quite it. I'm sorry. It's gonna go ahead here again. Go to home. Select open. And select the drawing. There we have it. So this is part one, drawing one. So in here, this is the same sheet that we had on Onshape. This has this all these other things that we don't want. So the first thing we're gonna do is to modify the artboard so it's bigger than this, so it actually resembles the work area we have at the laser cutter. So here on the left, we click on artboard, and here on the top right corner, we're gonna make the width to be 32 and the height to be 18 inches. And we select exit. Then we're gonna click on this drawing and we're gonna select on group. And slowly we're gonna be selecting all those other lines that we don't want. And I'm gonna start deleting them. I just pressed the delete key on the keyboard. I'm also gonna delete these numbers. And we're also gonna delete these center points for the circles. If you click on one of those, I think all of them get deleted. So we just ended with the handle, the outer shape of the handle. Now this handle, if you remember correctly, it's scaled to be a half of what its real measurement needs to be. So let's go to File, Document Setup, and let's change the units to millimeters so this is easier for us to modify. So you can tell here on the Transform menu on the right, on the top right corner, that we have its current measurements. So just making sure that this is on the Maintain Width and Height Proportions tool. As long as this is on, now we can change the height to be, instead of it being 50 millimeters, let's make it 30. So now it's gonna be off the right measurements. And as you can tell, the width has also been modified. So the next thing would be to click on this, change the color of the stroke. The laser cutter has certain colors that it will identify in order to do the right operations to the material it has. So in order to cut, it needs all the lines that it will cut to be red. So we selected the red color. So on the RGB code, the red has to be all the way to 255 and green and blue has to be 0. Perfect. And the width or the thickness of the line here on stroke has to be 0.01 point. This will make the lines super thin, but just know that the lines are there. So this handle, we can cut twice on the laser cutter, but we can already print it or send it to the laser cutter controller by either clicking on Ctrl P on your keyboard or going to File, Print. A print window is gonna appear and then just hit print. Perfect. Let's adapt the Tinkercad files too. So go to File. We're gonna open again. Gonna select the Scissor Arm. And because the Scissor Arm wasn't modified, you can pretty much print this as it is. I think the only thing that's changed or that we need to modify is that the thickness of the line is almost there. It has a thickness of 0.008. It needs to be 0.01 point. So let's just modify that. Hit Enter on the keyboard. And this time I'm gonna click on Control P on the keyboard to print it, and I'm gonna click print. So now all these two files have been sent to UCP. That's the software to control the laser cutter. How can you find it? You can type here on the search area. You can type in UCP is this app. Also, you can find it here under the hidden icons on the window. Now, like I said before, this control panel software is not available on the laptop, so you need to make sure that if you already have your files ready in Adobe Illustrator, you save them if you're working on in one of the Makerspace laptops, and then you bring that file into one of the computers on the CNC room, to one of the computers next to the laser cutters. So here we have the two files we've done. This is the latest one, and in here I'm gonna click on the left arrow in order to show us the handle. So these models need to be assigned what kind of material they'll be cut from. So go to settings, and in case your pieces are not showing up like this is a materials database where we're gonna select the kind of material we will be using. So I'm gonna select natural in order to select natural materials because it's gonna be out of MDF, a wooden type material. Click on plus, then you go all the way down to select wood. In this case, the wood options were already open, but I'm gonna do it as the first time you're doing this. So hit plus, and in this case, we're gonna select medium density fiberboard. That's what MDF stands for. And the thickness of the material we'll be using is 3/8 of an inch, which goes up to 375, which is actually 375 inches thick. The units are inches. The vector cutting, well, this power assignments or intensity adjustments have been already done automatically by selecting the kind of material and thickness of the material we'll be using. So just hit OK. So this file already has a material selection. You'll have to do the same for the other one. Go here, click settings. Again, we're using medium density fiberboard, which is under natural, under wood. The material thickness is going to be 0.375. Units inches, and select OK. So now, this white area is a representation of the working area of the laser cutter. We can laser cut things up to 32 inches long and 18 inches wide. So this, of course, our handles fit perfectly in here. But we need to make sure that on the real thing, on the laser cutter, we put a material big enough, a piece of MDF of set thickness, 3/8 of an inch thickness, that fits this piece. So we usually go and bring our pieces to the top left corner just because the pieces of material, we might want to adjust them here. But let's say you already cut something in here and you need this to be a little bit down from this position, so you can go here and then cut it again. More on this later, since I'll have to do a video tutorial with my phone on this. But yeah, once you are done also like placing the laser cut piece in the right position where there's material big enough that it will this can be cut from, what you'll need to do is to turn on the laser cutter here, give it a minute to initialize, and then if you already have your material inside the laser cutter, you need to close the lid and turn on the BOFA, which is the fume extractor. Once you've done those three things, turn on the laser cutter and let it initialize. Then we set closing the lid of the laser cutter and turning on the BOFA. You can hit start. So only up until that moment you can hit start, and this will laser cut your pieces. So good luck on your project. Of course, I'm always going to be around to help you out with this process. So good luck with it, and see you in the next video. So welcome makers to the practical side of things, where we're going to fit this piece of material inside the laser cutter for our handle to be cut. So once the laser cutter is turned on, you can open the lid carefully. And for now, I'm just gonna place this piece, let's say, on the corner of our working area. Make sure that nothing's under it, so it fits right there. When the laser cutter is on, you can go here and select this tool, the pointer tool, or the focus view to, I'm gonna zoom out here, and to go to different positions on the actual thing. For example, if I wanted to go to the top right corner, top left corner, I'm gonna hit here, and this will start moving toward that corner. You can see the red dot or right pointer right there. That's similar to this position. So in this case, we want to make sure that this piece will fit in that material. So we go to the top left corner of it. We know that you can tell the laser cutter is touching on the material. And then we're gonna do the similar thing for the bottom right corner. Now we've done these two steps, we can make sure that our piece is gonna fit the material we have for this. So you can go ahead and close the lid. I'm gonna stop talking right now because I'm gonna turn on the fume extractor. So it's gonna get very noisy in here. I'm turning this on. And since we have already assigned the settings, we're just gonna hit start. Alright, I turn on the BOFA for a second. So we just got this one cut. And what we do in this situation is that we need another copy of this. But that has to be placed somewhere under the previous one. So to make sure we get that right, using the same file, we don't have to assign settings again. We just need to click here on focus view and bring the focus view down the first piece we made. So it gets in this corner, which would be the top left corner of the piece. And we know that we put it, or we located it in a good position for the next one that we cut. See? So to move this file right to that position, we go here to relocate view. We make sure that this corner is selected. This is the top left corner of the piece, and then we select that that corner piece goes to that corner up point goes to the pointer. So now we've moved this file downwards, and that's it. You can close this, turn the fume extractor on, and get this one cutting as well. I advise you, or please ask you nicely, to try to use the most out of the material. Don't leave very big gaps between the pieces, because we can hardly use those gaps afterwards. So be mindful about the environment, you know. Put the pieces as close as possible to each other. And in this case, I'm going to turn the fume extractor on. Start, and there you have it.